Why the hell are these movies still being made? Is Robert Rodriguez that desperate for a paycheck? So, Spy Kids Armageddon is the most recent and fifth entry in this franchise that's been running since the early 2000s. Now, I don't know if I've even seen the first two in full. I know I've seen at least a little bit of it when I was younger, but I didn't really have much interest in the movies to begin with, so I don't think I ever finished them. I did see the third one in full, and it's awful, and I've never touched the fourth one, but I've heard it's bad from people who like the series and people who don't give a shit about the series. So, I really had no reason to watch it. So why did I watch this one? I needed something to watch before all these other ones came out. And I now have a shitload of movies I need to go see and review, including The Creator, the new Paw Patrol movie, there's a movie called 57 Seconds, Surprised by Oxford. There's a lot of movies that just came out that I'm going to be watching. I saw this like 4 days ago or something, but I just haven't reviewed it because I haven't had time. But now I have a little bit of time, so I can briefly talk about this movie. And this will be pretty brief because there's not too much to say about this movie. So let's start with the basics. Obviously, it's a Robert Rodriguez film, and it's a kids Robert Rodriguez film, so the special effects look like shit. But I will give this movie credit. It still looks better than The Flash, because at least with the visual effects, there's something interesting going on. Like, especially like the background, comparing the final battle in this movie and the little video game realm that they're in compared to the boring-ass desert the final battle of The Flash took place in. Or hell, even the Speed Force wasn't that interesting to look at during the final fight. But there's a lot going on, there's a lot of creativity happening with these special effects. Again, compare it to the final battle of The Flash, where it's just a boring desert, and it's just a bad green screen effect. And The Flash had no excuse with a budget of over $300 million. I'm guessing this movie had a relatively low budget, because if it had a big budget and looks like this, then, again, there's no excuse. The cast is all actually pretty good. Zachary Levi makes everything better. He makes even just mediocre jokes in this movie. He still managed to get a laugh out of me, even if the joke wasn't very funny. He still managed to make me laugh just by his delivery. Gina Rodriguez is pretty good here. The kids are surprisingly not as bad as you would think. The girl is pretty annoying, but it's not the actress's fault. It's the character she's given. She is kind of insufferable throughout most of this movie, but the acting out of the two kids was fine. Billy Magnuson, is that right? I think it's the blonde dude who played that other prince in Aladdin. He was also in Into the Woods. He's been in some stuff. He plays the villain. He's the stereotypical over-the-top villain you expect out of a movie like this. I mean, he doesn't go like Eddie Redmayne from Jupiter Ascending or Hugh Jackman from Pan level of over-the-top. But you can tell he's still kind of having it. You can tell he's having fun, at least. I can tell everybody in front of the camera, at least, is having fun here, even if the script they're given isn't very good. And that is, again, that's one of the big drawbacks with movies like these, that the scripts usually suck. And again, I will give credit, there were some jokes that were pretty funny. They were decent. I don't think there weren't any jokes that really made me laugh, but there were a few that got a lighthearted chuckle out of me. There were enough jokes that were decent attempts that it wasn't completely insufferable. The action sequences, it's hard to gauge because they're okay, surprisingly. But again, they're not great, but it seems like a lot of this movie, the best way I can put it is a lot of the stuff in this movie is just at the borderline. Like, the acting is mostly fine. The effects are mostly crap. The action is, again, mostly fine. The script is all bad, though. Again, there's a few decent jokes, but other than that, the story makes no sense. It's super dumb. The villain's plan makes absolutely no sense. I still don't even fully remember what it was supposed to be. I think it was some kind of, like, world-purifying bullshit by either making people play video games constantly or maybe putting them into the video game world Space Jam 2 style. It doesn't make a ton of sense, and again, I would have let it go if it was funny. Like, you can have a villain that has a stupid-ass plan as long as the plan is supposed to be stupid and it's done for comedy. But it's not, because this movie takes this plan overly seriously. They act like, because it's the Armageddon, essentially, so it's treated, they play it extremely straight. But with something as stupid as this, you needed to play into the side of, okay, this is silly a little bit. Take, for example, the Hobbit book, not the fucking garbage trilogy, but the book, or hell, even the animated film, if you want, where the entire conflict at the end, everyone's talking about how stupid this is, so to the point where the book and the animated movie don't even take it seriously. You only see a few flashes of it because Bilbo is passed out throughout the entire thing. Then in the live-action movie, they're talking, every once in a while they mention how stupid this conflict is, yet everybody is still taking it overly seriously for some reason, and that was this movie. Now, the thing I hate the most about this script was the honesty message, and that's a fine enough message to have, but when you're dealing with spies, this doesn't work. And I know they tried to, not only do they shove it in your face, the way it's resolved at the end is incredibly ham-fisted, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, how are you supposed to be honest as a spy? This doesn't make sense to me, and that's brought up throughout the entire film, that those don't coalesce. That's the entire point, but the movie wants you to think that it can. And that also translates to the final battle, the way Tony, the kid who, the boy, beats the villain is because he plays fair, so even though he loses, he unlocks basically a cheat that allows him to defeat the villain in one hit. I don't know why the villain added this in the first place, and that doesn't make sense. You don't unlock an achievement in video games for playing fair. That's not how video games work, and I'm not even sure if Robert Rodriguez knows how video games work, because he tried the same thing, video game bullshit, with Spy Kids 3, and it was a colossal failure. That movie is awful. This is far better than Spy Kids 3, I can tell you that much, and I doubt it's worse than 4, because again, I've heard 4 is like utterly abysmal. I don't know if it'd be better than the first two. I probably would have liked it more than the first two, because honestly, again, those movies just aren't really my thing. And this film is fine for kids, although I will say this. Compared to Rodriguez's last movie, We Can Be Heroes, that I reviewed a couple of years ago, it looks like a goddamn masterpiece. The effects look better, the acting is better, the story is better. Everything in this movie is far better than if you saw my review of We Can Be Heroes, you know I absolutely hated that movie. And the worst thing about it is that my brother likes it, so I've seen parts of it like in the background when I'm at home for the holidays and stuff. So I've seen parts of it several times, and I wish I hadn't, because I fucking hate We Can Be Heroes. This one, like I said, it's fine for younger kids. Adults are not going to get shit out of this. And it's showing in the reviews. The critic scores at a flat 60, which is technically still positive, but it's barely there. But the funny thing, sorry, my throat's hoarse. I don't know if you've been noticing, but yeah, that the audience score is even worse. I think I'm looking at it I'm looking for it right now. I'm not looking at it. That it's like 52%, and like, why won't this load? There we go. The audience score is at like 52%, which is, again, usually that's flipped. Yep, here we go. 60% critics score, 51% audience score, so there you go. Seems like critics are liking this more than audiences, which is weird. Usually scores are flipped for movies like this. So yeah, that's all I got for Spy Kids Armageddon. I guess a C-, because it's not awful, but it's just, again, it's just kind of nothing. I'll have forgotten about this in a day. So thank you all so much for watching, and now I have a ton of other stuff I need to watch. Like I said, I got The Creator, which looks like garbage. Paw Patrol The Mighty Movie, which I like the first one, so maybe it'll be good. A movie called 57 Seconds, Surprised by Oxford. There's plenty, I'll have plenty of reviews coming within the next few days. So I guess I will see you all then. Bye.